There's absolutely no way that this was the ending. What's going on, people? My name is Alex Thorn, and I'm just a rock and roller who in my downtime likes to watch movies while wearing a bandana. And this time, I took a look at the Netflix original Leave the World Behind. Now, I gotta admit, one of the biggest reasons I took a look at this movie is because of Julia Roberts. Yeah, I'm kind of a Julia Roberts fan. Pretty Woman, Mystic Pizza, Aaron Brockovich, Sleeping with the Enemy. I mean, she's made classics that were from my preteen years. I mean, I remember watching these movies at 4, 5, 6 years old with my mom. Julia Roberts came out with a movie. It was instant rental. Walk in to this mom and pop video store, and they would have the stand-up of Julia Roberts there with Richard Gere. And she was the it girl before Sandra Bullock, before Jennifer Gardner, and before Jennifer Lopez. It was Julia Roberts. So I wanted to check this out because I feel like I haven't really seen her in a main project that looks good and looks interesting in a long time. And yes, there are other people in this movie. I don't remember their names right off the top of my head, but Julia Roberts was enough to keep me in. Here we are, is a family that is in the busy hustle and bustle city of New York, similar to me in Chicago, wants to leave the world behind and do an Airbnb in this secluded area right outside New York. And they rent a beautiful house, and it's down in the woods, and what a lot of people tend to do, but they still take their laptops and phones and tablets. And this family is very, very much tied to the way we live today, like everybody, right? Just like me. This big TV, Wi-Fi lights, phone, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 5 in the living room, all this stuff. Well, when you leave the world behind, this movie and what goes down in this movie actually makes sure that that happens. Julia Roberts and her husband, Ethan Hawke, have 2 little kids, and I don't remember their names, and I don't need to. All I need to do is tell you that the little girl is ridiculously tied to Friends, the mid-90s TV show, and her big brother is exactly that, an asshole, a big brother. One of the first things the family does when they get to the Airbnb is actually go to the beach. And when they get to the beach, there's a huge ship that just comes right onto shore. And the husband knows what that means, but the rest of the family really doesn't. Later on in the night, when everything stops working and they're just like, well, maybe it'll come on tomorrow, right? The original family, the owners of this house, well, the father and the daughter, come back to the house. And this is where this movie did something I didn't think was possible for me as a Julia Roberts fan. It made me dislike her for a majority of the rest of the movie, because it was at this point that she's acting really, really bitchy. Well, there's a bunch of tension in the movie. And I love that GH's daughter completely stands up to Julia Roberts throughout the entire movie because she needed it. Because people like who Julia Roberts is portraying in this movie, if you allow them to, they will run all over you with their BS and their limited mindset and their preempted thoughts. I'm glad she stopped her dead in her tracks. Eventually, Ethan Hawke says he's going to try to go out into town, and everybody starts separating. So obviously there's more going on. It's not just a power outage. And from here, the movie is basically turns into survival. There's a high-pitched noise that happens. It starts doing weird things to the sun. Finally, GH and Julia Roberts' character get along. This is where she won me back. She starts dancing, and she has the whitest woman dances ever, but it's Julia Roberts, so it's adorable. It's cute. She knows how to do that. There's very few females in Hollywood that can pull this off. She is one of them. Kevin Bacon has a character who is seen early on in the movie at a grocery store stocking up for things. And later on, GH and Ethan Hawke end up going to him and talking to him. He does a great role as well. Like I said, these people are over here. These people over here. These are the four adults, and plus the fifth one who's lingering from the early part of the movie. One kid is basically dying, and the other one disappears. And suddenly, this little girl, and yes, I'm giving it to you because if I had to suffer through this non-ending, you're going to be curious about this non-ending too. Because this prompted me to do something else. That one house that her and her brother saw earlier, she ends up breaking into the house after she finds out there's nobody there. I guess she scoped out the joint, goes downstairs, finds out that they had this room, this place, because they knew about what was happening in the world. And this safe room, really it's like a safe apartment. And she ends up finding that they saved all their physical media, all their seasons to the shows, especially her favorite show ever, Friends. She puts on the disc, presses play, the fucking movie ends. This made me buy the book, Leave the World Behind. Yeah, I bought the book because I'm hoping when I read this, I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but I'm hoping to get more details into what the hell is going on with the world in this story, in this film. Is there going to be a part 2? Like, you guys left me on a cliffhanger, and everybody else who watched this movie. So I kind of told my buddy after I watched the movie, and he goes, yeah, that's what's separating people on this movie. They either love it or they hate it. And I'm in the point where I'm just like, I want to know more, but I hate the ending. So guys, Netflix, Leave the World Behind, for me, is going to get a solid 3 bandanas out of 5 because it is entertaining. It kept my interest. But man, if there is never a part 2, and if this book that I ended up buying just to find out more about the characters in the world and everything that's going on does not lead me down a path of satisfaction, this is why I'm giving this movie 3 bandanas out of 5. If there's a part 2 that comes out later on, then maybe I'll revisit this one and give it a 4 out of 5. Who knows? But pissed me off at the end. But it did its job in making me interested, entertaining me, and I could see myself watching this movie again to show somebody else. You know how when you like a movie or you're curious about how you reacted and how somebody else is going to react, you do that type of stuff. So guys, have you seen Leave the World Behind? Did you read the book? Don't give me any details. But if you have read the book and you know that there's a little bit more to the characters, just kind of drop a hint down below. While you're doing that, can you please like this video, subscribe to the channel, because I am trying to reach 4,000 watch hours, and I am trying to do this in addition to making rock music and, you know, having a little shoot job on the side. I'd like to leave all that stuff behind. Not the rock music. That's amazing. That's my deal. I'm Alex Thorn, and you know what I gotta do? I gotta go rock out so I can watch some movies and review them for you.